Today, I want to dive in and chat all about strategies that you can implement to nurture a small audience and eventually scale that into a larger audience. But before we get started with me sharing some awesome strategies you can begin to implement today, I want to talk about what an audience truly is. If you have 777 people on your email list, but no one engages, no one buys, no one talks back and forth to you, is that really an audience? No. It's 777 missed opportunities. If you have a viral reel, but you gain no followers from that, is that truly an audience? No. Again, those are missed opportunities. An audience is not just people who subscribe to your email list or follow you online. An audience is someone who engages with your content, who is seeking to gain more content from you, who actually seeks to find you and seeks to see what it is that you have to offer. And this is what I hone in and call my tribe. So let's dive in and talk about strategies that you can use to nurture your tribe as well as scale it. The first strategy that you'll want to use is to become inquisitive. And what I mean by this is you want to be curious about who your audience is and what it is they're seeking from you. A big mistake that I see in this online space is that people show up and they feel like they have great ideas and great insight, and a lot of times they do. But if you don't know what your audience is seeking, how can you effectively speak to them? So one of the things that I love to leverage to help me be more insightful and aware of what it is that my audience is seeking is stories. So on my stories, I will post things like, would you like to learn more about hypnosis, or would you like to learn more about tapping? And what this does is it allows me to see what my audience is interested in, and it allows me to be more intentional when I'm creating content. This kind of relates to step number 2, which is let your audience help you create. When you're in the early stages of business, or even if you have a small audience, including your audience helps them to feel like they have buy-in to what it is that you have to offer. So if I make a post that says, would you like to learn more about hypnosis or EFT tapping, and I get them to vote, then I may say, which cover do you like for this ebook better? Doing this allows my audience to feel like they have a say, and it feels like they have a part in scaling and growing my brand. I know recently when I remodeled my brand and I changed my colors and really just up-leveled my brand, my audience had a big role in what that looked like. And it's been so cool to see their feedback now as I've moved into this place. When you let your audience help you create, that not only helps them to feel included, it deeply supports you so that you know what your audience is speaking and you can show up from that place. The next thing that you'll want to do is you'll want to nurture and educate your audience. A big mistake that I see online is everyone wants to just go straight for the sale. Oh, I have this amazing group coaching program. Why don't you join me? Oh, I have this new ebook that launched. Why don't you buy it? But the reality is you have to nurture your audience to build them into becoming more warm and ready to take that next step. So a way that you could effectively do this is consider the pillars that you have that are related to your offer. So for example, in my Elevate Method certification program, I have 7 different certifications that I certify my clients in. And so what I did on my way to preparing for the launch of the Elevate Method certification program is I educated my audience on those 7 different certifications. So for 1 week, I talked about hypnosis, and the next week I talked about time techniques, and the next week I talked about neurolinguistic programming. And it was really cool because it gave my audience an opportunity to learn more about these different modalities and how they could apply to them. So maybe, for example, you're creating a product around embodiment. And so you spend 1 week and you talk all about mindset. And then the next week you dive in and you talk all about somatics. And then the next week you talk all about the action piece related to embodiment. And what you're doing is you're essentially preparing your audience for what's to come. The great thing about nurturing and educating your audience is that you get to create this amazing balance between giving value and selling, so that when you sell, people really feel like there's a ton of value that you've given for free. Oh my goodness, what could she possibly give me for paid? The next strategy is to be consistent and to be creative. I see it often online where people will post one time and they're like, no one joined my masterclass, no one joined my program. But have you done enough nurturing, and have you shown up consistently enough that people can trust you? There's a concept called the know, like, and trust factor. And in order for people to want to take that next step with you, they have to know you, they have to like you, and they have to trust you. And you showing up and being consistent contributes to that trust component. And if you're worried that you're going to talk about your offer too much with being consistent, I want to challenge that thought. So, one of the most profound concepts in the marketing space is the rule of 7. If you're not familiar with the rule of 7, essentially this rule says that a potential buyer needs to hear or see your marketing message on average of 7 times before they're ready to take that next step. And so you got to talk about it, because even if you think about the way that the algorithm works, people may not see everything that you post or everything that you share. So the more that you talk about it, the more it becomes front and center in their mind, and the more you're building that awareness so that when they're ready to take that next step, they feel really confident about that decision. So show up consistently. Talk about your offer consistently. And here's the cool thing is you can talk about it in a lot of different ways. So for example, when I talk about neurolinguistic programming, I may talk about the history of neurolinguistic programming. Then I may talk about how I've used neurolinguistic programming. Then I may talk about how you can leverage it as a coach. Then I may talk about how we teach it inside of the Elevate method. But essentially, I'm still talking about these different components of neurolinguistic programming in a creative way. Also, showing up consistently shows that you really care about your offer. So if you show up once in a blue moon and then you're expecting people to take that next step, you don't come off consistent. And so why would they want to invest with you? Now, I want to add a little caveat. I am not that coach that's going to tell you have to post 3 times a day. You don't have to post 3 times a day. Post in a way that feels aligned for you, but allow it to be fun, allow it to be creative, allow it to be expansive, allow it to be engaging. Sometimes online, it can get boring to keep posting and doing reels back to back. And so this is where creativity gets to come in. Maybe you do a series of reels, and then you do a series of carousel posts, and then you do a series of stories, and then you do a series of lives, or maybe you mix them all together. And here's the cool thing. You may talk about, your topic during a reel, and then you may talk about it in a static post, and then you may talk about it on a story, and then you may talk about it in a live. The great thing is you are reaching people in a lot of different creative ways. The next and final step is to talk about your amazing offer. After you've laid these foundational steps, such as being curious about who your audience is, being consistent, allowing them to have a role in helping you create, showcasing what it is that you have to offer and breaking it into pillars and showing up and educating and nurturing your audience. After you've laid those foundational steps, you get to showcase what it is that you have to offer. The foundational steps that you've done have allowed your audience to essentially get on the edge of their seats, and you've hyped them up about it. And so when you drop this offer, it's going to make it a no-brainer to take that next step. You've nurtured them, you've engaged with them, you've involved them, and you've increased your know, like, and trust factor. So it makes it a seamless process for them to take that next step. And I know a lot of people get a little antsy or anxious about the part of selling, but here's the reality. Someone somewhere is waiting on you to do what you're called to do. And when you keep yourself in a box and you don't allow people to see this amazing next step that they can take, you serve no one. You playing small hurts not only you, but it hurts those who could be blessed and benefit from what it is that you have to offer as well. So when you're talking about your offer, hype it up. Showcase social proof of people that have taken this next step and the results that they've gotten. This lets other people see what's available for them. Talk about the bonuses. Talk about what's in it for them, and talk about why they should take this next step. All in all, nurturing your tribe and scaling your following doesn't have to be complex. What I would love to challenge you to do is I would love to challenge you to think through these strategies that I shared today, and I want you to consider how you can begin to implement them moving forward. If you're looking for the tools, the strategies, and support to build the business that you desire and deserve, I have just the thing for you. Inside of my Elevate Method coaching certification program, I not only certify you so that you stand out as a coach, but I also give you so much business support and coaching so that you can build your business without the overwhelm. If you're ready to show up, show out, and stand out as a coach, and you're ready to facilitate change that lasts longer, goes deeper, and happens quicker for your clients, the Elevate Method is where you need to be. So use that link below to fill out your application, and I look forward to connecting with you super soon.